Poetry used to be the most dreaded of all subjects for me in school time, because at that time in a Tibetan refugee school, poetry meant something that was to be recited, kind of elocution, standing in front of everybody, and you have to mug up those lines and say it. And I was terrible at it. Even today I cannot remember my own lines. So I used to get beaten. I used to be punished, and I used to be made kneel down outside the class because I couldn't remember those lines. And today I'm writing my own lines. I write poetry and stories. I write articles. I've become a writer now, and I live out of it. It had become, my goal to be a writer from childhood. But I didn't have enough English to write, and I want to write in English, not Tibetan, because we've been kind of encouraged, inspired by our elder generation, that we have to tell the world about the situation of Tibet. We have to win their support. And one of the things is that if you are good in writing and speaking, you can argue with the Chinese and win them with reason. So it had always, been a childhood dream to be a writer. And today I'm doing just that, and also being an activist. My name is Tenzin Tsundue. I'm a Tibetan writer and an activist living here in Dharamshala. I live in this small house with a couple of friends. We live in this old British bungalow, and we pay the room rent, and we live in this way, and hoping that one day we will be able to go back to our own country, Tibet. For me, poetry today is an understanding, more than expression. For me, poetry is a way in understanding the deeper truth and realities of life. And when I do that, then I also come out with the most appropriate and that too effective manner in articulating it. And in the articulation, because very often the words are not enough, so I use the language of the imagination. For me, that is poetry. Poetry is language of imagination, and therefore people find it difficult to understand, because it is not just mundane vocabulary. The diction has to do with imagination. So one of my first expressions was the line that says, "I'm more of an Indian, except for my chinky Tibetan face." I think this is a kind of a response to people who keep calling us Nepali or Chinese, or I think the assertion of my identity was the first necessity when I go out of the Tibetan community, and from there it started the entire writing and expression of one's identity and insistence on identity and culture. I've written a number of poems, mostly in English, and I think like how I've always adored Robert Frost, who gave wonderful lines for people around the world, just general simple truths of life. When I write, I try to bring in more stories, not slogans, but stories. Include stories in the way what I am saying, what I'm trying to present. Poems like Exile House or Space Bar, a proposal, or that poem where I talk about monsoon in Dharamshala. It's a poem called When It Rains in Dharamshala. There are stories of how we live with hope in the most unconducive manner. And how do we still, put together a great, adventurous, romantic, idealist life? For me, in the poetry is both the life that you're living and also the aspiration you're trying to hold up to. And I have found in my writing and also being in the Tibetan community very often that people are able to relate to some of the things that I am saying, and that I feel is a little success that I have achieved as a writer, that you are able to articulate a larger common felt experience and a common aspiration of a large number of people that you are part of. I think this is the one of the roles of the writers, that you speak for people and people feel represented in your writing. In one of my poems called Space Bar, a Proposal, I am saying, pull your ceiling halfway down and you can create a mezzanine for me. Your walls open into cupboards. Is there an empty shelf for me? Let me grow in your garden with your roses and prickly pears. I'll sleep under your bed and watch TV in the mirror. Do you have an ear on your balcony? I am singing from your window. Open your door, let me in. I am resting at your doorstep. Call me when you're awake.